Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. My goodness. Davis community, I thank Kathy Garvey for promoting this. I also like to recognize Michael Perella because he inspired me to do this. He gave a talk several months ago on Antarctica, and it was so informative and so interesting, and he asked me, well, I'm going to Africa, why don't you do something like this? So here we are. So look, the seminar hasn't changed for 100 years. Just like a long lecture, I'm into digital instruction and so forth. And so I thought I'd try something new here, and that is, with seminars, you stand up here with PowerPoint, and you narrate the PowerPoint. And so, but with video, you can actually pack in more. It's more efficient, and so it's what I call produced video. And so that's what I'm going to do today. And that is, it's 100% video, but I narrate it. And so there's video, there's pictures, there's audio, and a little bit of Hollywood in there too. So you'll see. So once I start, this is the first time I've really done this. I know it's relentless because you don't stop. And so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming, and we're going to go for it here. And it actually lasts 46 minutes, and so there'll be time for Q&A at the end. So let me kind of get this set up here. Just one second here. Okay, so look, this is why I was going to Africa, and that is to teach in the Consortium for Advanced Research Technology. So here's the organization. Here it's Africa. I'm going to give an overview: Uganda Adventure, Namibia Safari, Namibian people, Namibian coast, and Namibian dunes, and then we go back to Nairobi and see the safari cat dancers. So I'm going to give some background here initially, and that is Africa overview. Africa, there's 54 countries, so that's 4 more than we have states in the U.S. Population is 1.1 billion. For perspective, there's 4.5 in Asia alone. 40% of Africa is under 14 years of age. That's as distinct from 15% in Europe and 25% in North America. There's over 200 languages spoken there. That's about 40 per country. So when you look at Africa, it's 5,000 miles north to south, and about the same dimensions east to west, 4,800 miles. If you superimpose the U.S. on this, you drive from Senegal, have a little Senegal here from the west coast, 1,000 miles, hit San Francisco, drive across country, 3,000, still have 1,000 miles to go for the Horn of Africa. So there's different ways to divide it, but I like this one the best for the continent. That is, you have North Africa, you have the band across, we know the Saharan Africa, West Africa, then East Africa, Central Africa, the Congo and so forth, and Southern Africa there at the bottom. Now, I circled these two, Madagascar and Zambezi there because, or Zanzibar rather, there. The river system is interesting. I got into this because North American rivers are navigable, but no African rivers are navigable, and it's because they have these cataracts. And so here's the cataracts, how they're distributed, and what a cataract is where the earth separates and then you have a plate that drops down, so you end up with sort of a ditch or a valley. The most famous is East Africa, Rift Valley. This is a Congo river. I pulled this out of Heart of Darkness of the Congo, resembling an immense snake uncoiled with its head in the sea, its body at rest curving afar into the vast country, and its tail lost in the depths of the land. That's Joseph Conrad. And this African queen, if Humphrey Bogart would have just known about these cataracts, he wouldn't have gone over it. So anyway, so there's the, I got into Livingston as well because in Murchison Falls, he was up in that region. He had 4 different expeditions, the most famous of which is the Nile Quest. And this is Dr. Livingston, I presume, with Henry Stanley, and he died in 1873. Really interesting, I'm reading Into Africa. There's the big 5. We talk about the elephant. There it is. Okay, rhinoceros. That's the real sound of Alaska. Cape buffalo, lion, and leopard. These are the big 5 when you go to Africa, they always talk about. So this is where my wife Patty and I went, Uganda, Kenya, and Namibia. So they're actually, one's in East, one's in Central, and the other in South Africa. Now, Uganda Adventure. So that's what we're getting into now. We flew across the Atlantic down to Africa and Kampala. So here we are taking off. So anyway, there it is. fasten your seatbelt.
To fasten, slide the metal end
Unbelievable,
into
it's
the
Tarzan in-flight movie. So he's called just by coincidence, I couldn't believe it, but anyway. And then except for the near-death experience, it was pretty uneventful flight, but anyway. So there it is. There's your yellow card right there for anyway. There's a round trip in Uganda. So we flew down here by prop plane to Kasoro with southwest Uganda to see the gorillas. There's Patty, myself, my sister-in-law, and my stepdaughter. Now, this is where it is in Africa, where these gorillas are. And so it's at Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda. And the whole thing, it's these two areas right there. There's only about 900 of these mountain gorillas. So here's a little bit of information. That is, there are two critically endangered populations, one in Rwanda, one in Uganda. They're primarily foliage eaters, some frugivory, but very little. It's low energy value, but they're always available because they're sitting sort of in this salad bowl, and enables them to be permanently gregarious. The social system, you have one male and 3 to 5 females with infants. The mortality rate when they're young is about a third, but once they mature 3 or 4 years right in there, it's very low. And male silvering, they call it, begins at age 10 and matures about 16 where they become a silverback. So here we are. Yeah, in matters of government, the gorilla leads the others on the march and selects their feeding grounds and places to sleep. He breaks camp and the others all obey him. The Sandy Harcourt and Kelly Stewart, both here at UC Davis, both retired now. So there we are, the way the staging areas, by the way, these permits cost $600 each, so it's not cheap. Staging area, you have 8 people that can go to each gorilla family. So this is in the Bwindi impenetrable forest, and the trail's not impenetrable, but if you look at each side, it's unbelievable dense. There's Patty walking up the trail. I have another shot here in just a second, the guide and all of us following. Now you see the porters from nearby town. They actually didn't carry stuff so much as they helped you up and down, up the slopes. Now we arrived and they're at 11 o'clock in the morning, sleeping in, I guess. I didn't know they slept this long, but silverback in the nest. And there he is like King Kong coming out of his nest. It's unbelievable. We just arrived and he was leaving. So there he is. He's going to slide down this tree. Unbelievable. And huge. Yeah, shimmy down the tree. Now you see that infant, or juvenile coming down just a bit. And then we were all standing back. You're supposed to have 7 meters distance here, but if they come closer, that's, you know, they're just closer. Anyway, there's a juvenile, and you'll see that in just a minute. Now look, here's what the guides do. They clear the vegetation so you can see, these are habituated gorillas, so they just sit there munching away. You'll see in just a bit. And so the group, there it is. And so now you have, these are flying insects, are always around the gorillas. They don't seem to bite, but they are attracted to the oils or something, the scent. Now watch this, how he eats. I'd never thought about this so much, but they don't take one leaf at a time. They actually strip the leaves from the branch to eat. So see that he has a big bunch, and he'll do that again in just a second. There he's stripping leaves again, eating them. So that's how they eat that. Now, he's going to break off a branch. I guess he needs some roughage or whatever, but so here he goes. We were about 10 to 15 feet away at that point. Yeah, so. Now, we saw this other male, we think it's a male, and he obviously got in some sort of fight. And it's like he wanted to point at it, so he's probably just scratching it. But in any case, he was just kind of hiding there in the bushes, staring back at us. Now, there is a baby gorilla there that dashed out of the bush. And there he goes, dash back in. He was one that grabbed my pant leg, actually. I didn't. Anyway, he comes right back out, up in the bush, and climbs there. And that should go down. So anyway, these things are pretty amazing. So there it is. You're allowed 1 hour with a family of gorillas, and that's it. So now we're back at the Lake Mutanda resort where we stayed. There's the small, places that we stayed. We went out and dug out canoe, had a little serenade and so forth. But look at that. This is like gorillas in the mist. It's just Shangri-La-like up there. Anyway, we're going to the Batwa pygmies. This was as interesting in my view as the gorillas. And these are the roads. They're worse than what it looks there. This is 1 and 2 an hour you're going up these roads. And there's the pygmy. So this is a living museum concept. This is a pre-trek orientation with the Batwa tribe. And they were competing for space in a sense with the gorillas. And so they are now on, sort of a reservation concept. But this one right here, this man is a mid-50s, and he lived in the forest, was hunting with bow and arrow and the whole business there. And anyway, he's telling a story there I won't go into, but that's where we started. Now, went out and they do this pre-hunt ritual. So there's 4 of them, and they line up and do this ritual. And he's going to go up and put his forehead on this branch, and all of them lined up and did the same thing, and then we're off down the trail. And anyway, then the different demonstrations. This is like, in my view, just walking back into prehistoric man, because this had to have been how they lived. But he's giving a hunting demonstration here with his bow and arrow. These were bow and arrow, and his spears were real deals. These were, what they made. And so, anyway, that's him. And then we went to the creek, and he shows how to fill a bamboo canteen so that they'd strap that on their back, and that's how they, had water when they weren't near a lake or stream.
That is a jerrycan, and this is a cup. A cup, okay, gotcha.
Okay, this is not video, but there's the hut. We look in, it's sticks and leaves and branches and all that. You look inside, and it's pretty basic. There he is guarding, standing guard. So then we go on down the trail, and that's what it looked like up in the mountains there. And then you look over here, and this is Rwanda. So this is all one area there. It's just a beautiful part of the continent. And so then we ended up in the Batwa cave. There we are with this man, and this is a religious concept for them. We go down in the cave, and these women, the village women, sort of quietly entered and started singing in the darkness. I obviously pulled out the video, and there they are. And then they finished there, and then we go outside, and here they are. And bear in mind, there's 4 of us total that they're doing all this for. And so, one thing, I think we all know this, when you get back from the trip, it just stimulates you to really look into, learn more about these things. But anyway, African dance, watch this baby over here. He wants to be part of the action right in here. But Granddad comes in in just about a second here. And there he is. Okay, so, I know, yank his arm off, but anyway. So there it is, and the drums are a big part of music and dance in Africa. And anyway, they just put on this dance for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever. And, there's 2,000 languages, and just like there's 2,000 different ethnic groups or more. And every one has different unique dance and music and so forth, okay? Now, we drove on up the road. So we started here, we're up to Murchison Falls here. And so we had a driver in Uganda, whereas in Namibia we go to in just a bit, Patty and I drove. Anyway, this is the Murchison Falls National Park. We stayed at the Para Safari Lodge, a beautiful lodge there. And there you look out over the Nile. Now this is the headwaters of the Nile. And this would be the White Nile. There's a Blue Nile that starts in Ethiopia, but this is the White Nile that starts in Victoria, Lake Victoria. And so we went on this. It's the it's a wildlife sort of boat safari of sorts. And so there it is. This is a beautiful river, beautiful ride. And so this was like walking into a National Geographic. Just so much wildlife there. I'm telling you, you can talk about the Serengeti in Tanzania, but this is just wonderful. Those were water buck we just saw. These are elephants ahead. So you see them coming down to the water there. There's a matriarch and her sub-adults. We parked outside there and just took all kinds of video. I have so much elephant video here, but anyway, it's just fascinating. They just come down and get their morning drink. And anyway, then we move on down. The hippopotamus, we know this. All kinds of hippos, most of them in the water. There's some ducks right or geese right over there.
And behind the spur with the geese.
There's an elephant. These are warthogs, and also the Cape buffalo back here. It's a little shaky. I guess these are Cape buffalo right in. No, these are warthogs right in here. So
They picked
a
clotted
little
blood
shaky.
from
There's a
the
Nile
hippos.
crocodile. Nobody was going to jump out of the boat.
Claim
Anyway,
lives of people are still claiming.
there it is. There's Patty and my sister-in-law Barb heading up the river to Murchison Falls. So, yeah, heading up the river. And yeah, there it is. Just very short footage, but the Murchison Falls, it's only 25 feet wide. The whole river has to come through this gorge. That would be what you call a cataract. That's where boats end up. You can't get beyond that. Now we're going overland safari in Murchison Falls here. And so we're heading out for safari here. And you'll see in just a second here, just the density of the wildlife. These are Ugandan cob, hartebeest, and Cape buffalo, and this is just shot out the window for the moment. I have some close-up here in just a second. But you see the density here, it's just unbelievable, just a wonderful excursion. So this is a Lelwell hartebeest, and relative to the wildebeest. Anyway, there's a Uganda cob, it's indigenous to Uganda, as it implies, the name. And here's giraffes, just unbelievable. Notice that they always carry a rifle here. You're probably not supposed to get out of the car, but he took us out and to see the giraffes, and they're just so graceful. Now, this is one of the big five, the African lion, sort of like born free. And anyway, you can see this right up here. That's what, when you find a lion, everybody converges. So everybody was out there. So there's that. Now, we're going to move on Namibia safari here. So we're come back. We have to fly back to, home. Windhoek is where we flew into for this excursion. So there we are taking off again. Fasten our seatbelts.
Slide the metal
An
end into the
unbelievable
buckle.
in-flight movie was Born Free again.
Born free.
Yes. Yes. She was born free and she had the right to live.
Okay, other than snakes on a plane, it was an uneventful flight. So look, this is in Etosha National Park. You get a sense of the terrain there. It's just really barren. But we turned into this waterhole, and it was like Garden of Eden. It was unbelievable. And so here's these huge elephants. You see the giraffes, the springboks, the wildebeest, and so forth. These temporal glands right there in the elephant, this is male in musk, and that is in rut. And so anyway, there's giraffe. This isn't all that great a footage that I pulled out here, but a sense of the diversity of that waterhole is just teeming with wildlife. Now this is a gemsbok. It's a close relative to the oryx, the same genus as the oryx. You've heard of oryx, I'm sure. And so there it is. We're just leaving to go to another waterhole here, but we couldn't believe it, just how much wildlife is there. It's not always there because we went there at a different time and they'd all cleared out. Anyway, here we are headed down this is through Etosha. Almost nobody was there. There's ostriches, the black on the left of the males. There's a springbok. What do we have? Something else coming up. Yeah, there's a Burchell's zebra. It was alone, but they come in herds. There's a kite. This next bird right here, yeah, this Kori bustard. This is a really interesting bird. We saw a lot of those, really big bird. There's an African lion again. And so, yeah, blue wildebeest. Then this is the Etosha pan. It's really famous place. It's about 40 to 50 miles across, but a pan is a dried lake bottom, and it's just vast. So they talk about the Etosha pan, and that's it. Now, I have what I did is put some elephant vocalizations in here, but this is another water hole. They guard this thing. Yeah, there's a trumpet. There's a lot of, there's other kinds of sounds here. This is a and, this is a kudu. It's waiting. So the elephants protect this thing. They're called interference. Interference rings. That's the rumble. This carries a huge number of miles. And there's what they call these springboks finally made it in, but these young elephants were trying to chase them off and so forth. So anyway, but only the elephants would be able to drink. There's a baby, probably 3 to 5 months old or so. So anyway, we sat there for hours watching these. Now, where we stayed at the lodge, they had a water hole for night viewing, and so that people gather around, and there's the first giraffe that came in, the appearance of the evening. So you see him coming in and take a drink here. But it's all quiet, sort of, just waiting for the animals to come in the evening. So there's what it looks like at night, but it was really interesting and because the birds were there around the edge of the water hole and just vocalizing and so forth. So here maybe this is going to be hard to see, but anyway, there's 2 African lions there. Maybe I need pitch black, but they're there, and so there they are right there. And yeah, there's an elephant family. I probably need pitch black in here for this. Let's see if that shuts off. Nope, doesn't. Anyway, there they are, single file coming in. When this is really black, you can see that much better, but maybe you can. There they are right in there, coming in a single file. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Try that. Then flip it back on when we're done here. But anyway, there they are coming in. And, okay, what do we have next here? There's a little a juvenile. Okay. And they, yeah, here's the lion. Yeah. So these lions are vocalizing. Now look, there's a rhino. So there's actually a couple. Is that the lions or the? Yeah, black rhinoceros. The other one is a white rhinoceros. But anyway, the black rhinoceros is the more they're endangered as well. So, but anyway, they were there for maybe an hour and a half or so. These elephants, and watch this guy right in here. He discovered that his mother had already left, and so he just makes a dash back to his mother. So there he is. I need this. I should turn up this audio just a bit probably. But anyway, then the next morning, same Waterhole. So this is 8 o'clock in the morning. Thanks, Brian. And so, nope, turn it. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. But anyway, you see these, just saw the zebras there come down, and you're going to see some jackals right in there. You always see a lot of jackals around these. And you look right in here, the guinea fowl, they're coming in to drink as well. These are blue wildebeests again. And so water holes in a place like this are just where you find the wildlife. They have to come get water, obviously. And so anyway, these are the springbok. And you're going to see in just a second here the wildebeest just came right up to us practically. There's a gemsbok again. They just wade right in. And anyway, this is a kudu. By the way, we had these as, we ate these. They had them as different wild game when we went to one of these restaurants. Zebra is interesting because the other animals hang around, but the zebras come down, they do their business, get a drink, and then they just go. Now, this is the next stop, and that was Twyfelfontein. Oh yeah, his and her bug sprays. Doom versus peaceful sleep. Okay. Anyway, this is the Overland excursion, and you know the journey is part of the destination, so we kind of look at this. We went out to find the desert elephants. They'd migrated up about 100 miles because there was no water. Word was out that they were up in this vicinity, so we went out looking. And so here it was with the Overland vehicles. And so I got the time right up here. We left at 8, there was 8:30. Down the riverbed, looking for these things. Yeah, we had a lot of that. And this guy, I mean, these are guys they want to find elephants for us, so he was really hard. More riverbed, and look at the different terrain here, so interesting. Yet another riverbed. Temperature, not bad. It was in the spring, or the fall rather, so it wasn't that hot, or it's just that. But it was during the summer, it's really hot there. Okay, so he's looking for elephant dung. The elephant dung will tell you where they are. And so they weren't there, so we're heading over to this region right in here. And this is the hard part here. That's okay. And 10:15. And at this point, I just thought this has been a great adventure. Even if you don't find the elephants, but wouldn't it be nice if we found elephants? Because this journey was so, overland and so forth. It was just Patty and me and the vehicle. But look at that. So by 11 o'clock, we found it. huge relief by the guide, I'm sure. And so there it is. Now these desert elephants, by the way, these are savanna elephants. There's a forest elephant, African elephant, and a savanna. These are the savanna. And each one, the desert one, is kind of a subspecies of the savanna itself. So there it is. And so it's 11:30 by the time we really kind of settled in here to watch the view.
Like this.
And
That's why it was difficult
there
for
they
me.
are. See the long legs and the broad feet. I'm going to have a close-up here. So graceful here, and just beautiful. So there they're headed. Part of them were headed out, wherever. And there's another group that this is sort of the common vehicle right in here that's used a lot. And but anyway, they were out.
I like that one, sir.
Just irritated this young elephant right there. You heard that trumpet. But here the adults are. They're not as big. If you remember back in Etosha, that these were huge elephants. But these are a little bit smaller. And I have a close-up of the feet right in here. They're really broad, white, whatever, bigger feet.
Two of the name is rock and roll, huh? It's a rock and roll.
Yeah,
And here we are pulling back into the country lodge here about 12:30. So it was about a 4.5-hour excursion. And we so anyway, now we're going to the rock carvings. There's this is the area where the most rock carvings in all of the continent are located. This is a World Heritage Site right in here. And so here's our guide. We're heading out. I'm just going to let
Hens that only get water during rainy times. So this was also known as an hunting map, as it was making easier for the Bushman hunters to catch a kill at the different water points located. The bigger the circle, the bigger the water point. But when you look above the two rhinos, they are human footprint. So human footprint was sometimes used as a signature of an artist, the one doing the engravings. So this is like a blackboard for teaching, especially young hunters.
Yeah, seal right in there. Look at that. They're 100 miles from the ocean, but clearly these bushmen would make their way to the ocean. Yeah, it was just really interesting. This is a famous sketch right in here, the Lion Man. Okay, now we're going to the Namibian people. So the first one is this click language.
the 4 clicks are what now?
I want a beer. You just said I want a beer. There she is.
We
right
also
in here.
have the 5 words
Wonderful young
and the different
woman.
meanings. The first one is wap. Wap, it means elephant. Wa, it means out. Wa, it means clay.
Why did you decide to work here?
Did I get say ngari season ngari ma au season ice ka se a kwa ga bai o rota ke wilderness ta ke season ba o ga ba sta ba and that weekends but ya kan sa sa ke una man una man tigreti tida ke ngaba go ngani kurina ke ngam as ke season aba go ta ke ha o ata ke ha o onno ice ka ko khidi na te kere ke ma matita ni tisa ama kada ke tita di waku aditho se angcamsa a okwaquba kura chikho ka system arisa.
Okay. Anyway, then we moved on. This is a Himba tribe village that Patty and I went through. There's a layout of a Himba village. You have the livestock pen in the middle and the huts around, the main hut right in here. So here we are entering the village. The children are playing. We have a guide that's taking us in. This is not a living museum. This is actually where they live. And so there's the couple of small boys. Okay, there's Patty and the guide taking us on in. Note the livestock pen right in there, so that's the center of the village with these different huts. And now, this is the Himba people, so your skin and hair, they spend the women enormous amount of time attending their hair, so it's a mixture of butter, ochre, ash, and resin, so they rub this also on their body, but they're really unique because of this hair. So look at those bushy hair tips, this is from a hair extension. And look at this, I just said, note the scale of the hut here. I mean, my goodness. So anyway, there's a woman. This is a smoking woman. Note the head ornament that indicates she's
Also
married.
tobacco as well.
Now we're going to have a demonstration in just a second. So one of the huts, they took us there to show a hygienic ritual here. Here's this young woman, about 19 years old, going in.
In the second box, we have
Okay, so this is preparing the cosmetic boxes right in here. This is material that they would rub on them, but also disinfect the clothing. You're going to see in just a second
You
here.
keep smoke inside the cosmetic boxes. That's to keep
Yeah,
it fresh.
incense
Whilst you do
uses
it early in the morning, it's to
antimicrobial,
heat
so
up
they don't have
about the
water to
effect
take a
which is
bath,
inside.
but they're very clean, and it's just a different concept of hygiene. So she'll get the smoke or the fire going a little bit here.
Smoke them around the neck. It's to kill small germs, insects, parasites in the hairs. For the proper one, they will sit over it, covers with a cloth, with a blanket, until they get sweatening their body. Whilst they get
Now,
sweatening
they
their
call
body,
this a
it's
washing
how the
machine.
cleanse of the body
So they
opens
put the
the pores
clothes
of the sweat
over on
holes.
top, and it disinfects them as the
Afterwards, that
smoke
is a wash machine or washing
permeates the
machine,
clothes
which they
and
use to clean the clothes
dries out or
which
kills
they
the
wear
insects
for a day.
or
It's the fetal
whatever's in
nest.
bacteria and so forth.
So that shell would come from the ocean.
That comes from our ocean. So we need to trade it to get into our tribes.
They
So
knock out
only
the
the
four
women
lower
or
teeth,
everybody?
all
Oh,
him.
Boys and girls
And is
both.
it four?
There's one who went out to school, him orphans. And so they lined up for us. We took a shot of them. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the Damaraland Living Museum. So this is another. There I am at the entrance setting. And this is a medicine woman, they called her. And so that she is talking about, this is tea leaves that they take from there. It treats gastric functions. And here she has berries from this tree, medicinal value. And here, he had trouble with this pitfall trap, but anyway, he finally got it to work and so forth, but there's pitfall. So this is a living museum where you go around to these different stations and so forth. Here's scraping
And
hide.
later we make the pillow with it. Yeah, we sketch off the hairs like that. And when it is clean nicely like this, we just take some animal fat, any kind of animal fat.
And I passed on this beer, but this is the beer.
So this beer is made out of grass seeds. Yeah, and these grass seeds are collected by the ants.
So they go to seed collecting.
Yeah, so the ants, they collect the seeds from the
Here
grass.
they make a fire. This is there he is. Obviously, I cut to the when the fire actually got started. So there it is. Yep.
Very nice.
Okay.
So that's the way.
So then this is just Patty and me in this village, of course, and so this is what I call the ceremonial dance. I got into looking into African dance just a bit. There's different types. So I decided this must have been a welcome to guest one. That's one of the category ceremonies. She's about 6-7 months pregnant. Maybe not quite that much, but anyway, she's pregnant. African dance differs from Western dance because they never pair up. It's different. The males have one role and the women have another. Lasted about 15 minutes total. It's unbelievable. Costs about $10 to get in. Here we are, Namibian coast. This is a skeleton coast, so we go on here. So this is a skeleton coast in Namibia right in here. It's a skeleton because of the shipwrecks and also because people die. There's nothing there for them to eat if they shipwreck. Anyway, here's one of the shipwrecks on the road up. It's about a 5 or 6 hour drive. Just absolute moonscape almost all the way. And, but really just fascinating because of the barrenness, basically. Now this is the entering the Skeleton Coast Park. And so this guy, by the way, had to be shown where North America is. And it was unbelievable. Anyway, Patty just misses the gate by about a 1/4 inch here. You know, this is the other side of the drive. It's British driving. So, okay. And this one coming up right in here, just a second, the beach chalet. And then we were put in the semi-VIP. I have no idea what that is. So, anyway, this is the chalets that we stayed in there. This is absolutely the end of the world. I mean, it's just, you see almost nobody. There's the bar. We ate there. And there's belly up to the bar. These South Africans come in, or Namibians too. Now, we're going to Cape Cross Fur Seal. It's the largest in the world. 100,000 seals there. By the way, seals, there's the fur seal and the other seal. They have the eared seals have ear flap and they have flippers. The true seals just have to wiggle and so forth. These can, with their flippers, they can actually run. Seal milk, 65% solids, 12% for humans and other mammals, highest in the of mammals. So there it is, this huge colony, and just vast. And so they have, yeah. So anyway, there it is. And this was about 2 to 3 month old pup, small pups. And so that you see them out there. This is absolute washing machine out there. And so this is newborn of the year, but they're all out there swimming or whatever. Okay, so then we've got to come back out of Skeleton Coast and then to Walvis Bay. And they had a kayaking. Patty found this. And anyway, excursion.
Just redone the engine, I've just resprayed the outside.
So we take our drive
back
out
in
there.
the inside of fish which you can see all around Africa.
Fun. And oh yeah, right in here, we're going out to this peninsula, this finger right in here to the seal colony right at the tip. Yeah, so there we are, there's the kayaks. And there was a couple German young women and with us, and a couple others. And so anyway, we're launching, and we go out, and you'll see the seals in just a second. So this is the same fur seal species, eared seal. There they are. So you go out and swim among them. All these cubs, these young seals come out. They're just really curious. So there they are. Just amazing, just amazing. I mean, thousands and thousands of these. Okay. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Okay, there we are, going to wrap up. They gave us a nice lunch, a brunch or whatever, and then we head back. And it was a lot of fun because we drove back along the ocean there's a jackal, brown-banded jackal, that just was oblivious of us. But anyway, so here we are. So there it is. So we're driving back down the road. Here's a sign coming up on the restroom. Do not flush. Kittens and puppies, pathetic limbs, hopes and dreams. Okay, here's the Namibia dunes. So here we are
113,
at the
113, okay.
at the lodge. So this is a desert scrub around the Sossusvlei Lodge, and you get a sense of the terrain right in there. And so that we went on an excursion the next morning out to see the dunes. This is a big part of Namibia. So there's sort of a dune excursion, not quite a dune buggy. So here we are heading out through the gates and so forth. Now, the Namib Desert, by the way, is the oldest desert in the world. Deserts only have 20% of the desert's actual sand dunes.
15 seconds, folks, let's do it.
So here we are, we're going to see dune fields, that's what they call there. So you see that would be called the pavement, the desert pavement, so to speak. It's three stuff of sand. So the left would be the windward side, and the right would be the slip face. Okay, so we're headed out where we can trek. Yeah, here we are pulling in to where we're going to get. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a Namib desert beetle, just really fascinating. So this is fog harvesting beetle. That is, the water condenses on these bumps right in here. It's channeled down through here and all the way to the mouth. And so that I thought that maybe they'd be really rare because we've all heard of them, at least I had. But they're actually fairly common. So here we are pulling up. There's one of the largest dunes there is called Big Daddy. There's also a Big Mama. And so that's where we're headed in just a second. So this is the outhouse. I said, where's the outhouse? And they said, go to the long drop. I didn't know what they were talking about. Anyway, there it is. So here it is with the dunes. And so, yeah, by the way, Mars rover picture, it looks very much the same. I just read Mars is the only planet other than Earth that has actual dunes. Okay, here we are heading up the crest of ascending Big Daddy Dune. And there's, yeah, so there it is. This, by the way, is 1,000 feet high. It's not quite the highest in Namibia, but it's up there. Yeah, I guess I have it right there. So there we are. There's a French group that we're going with. So this is a windward side here, and then the slip face would be over here. You're going to see this in just a second, that this slip face, there's some interesting sort of sand dynamics and so forth. We'll see. But anyway, this is really high, and this is really hard trekking and so forth, walking. This is a pan down at the bottom right in here. And so, yeah, right in here. This is what I call liquid sand. It looks like it's flowing upwards. Really interesting dynamic because of that slip face. These are sculpted. The sand dunes are sculpted. They're not just piled like that. So you get, now, so anyway, here's this French group going, and I sort of saw this as a fork in the road. We could continue right in there, but in fact, there's, see how far down that is? It's just unbelievable. So, and there it is. It's kind of the fork in the dune road. There's some of them went down here, and this I was with, and Patty and I were both with this Irish guy that was coming from another part of Africa that wanted to take this tour. Anyway, we decided to head on up just a bit more, but you just see, we didn't go all the way up here, but then we're going to cut down in here someplace. Now here you get a sense of the sand. It's just pretty amazing. There's the, this is the Irish guy, over ankle deep. Here I am, I just pointed the camera down. You get a sense of how loose that sand is. And now here at the bottom, so here's, he's running down here, and yeah, I made it. So. And this is the famous place, is dead acacia, 900 years old, dead flea. And this is like Alfred Hitchcock kind of scene, but they've used it in movies, and it's just pretty amazing. So here we are headed back to the lodge after our excursion. We almost didn't include the dunes in our trip, but luckily we figured out how to pull it off that evening. So here we are back. Really nice lodge. We stayed in pretty nice lodges. You kind of have to. There's a blowout. This is solitaire, blowout number 1, and blowout number 2. It's unbelievable. We had 2 blowouts within 24 hours. Here we are. We're going to Nairobi, and this is the safari cat dancers. I'm just going to watch this stuff. This is where I taught back in Nairobi. Put on every night, 40-minute program. Watch these acrobats. Watch this. Hands and feet up at once. I don't know how he did it. There's another guy. Watch that. Watch this guy right here. Had to go home, so fasten seatbelt.
Slide the metal end into the
Unbelievable,
bucket.
another in-flight movie. I had to pull out that scene, right? This is a Gods Must Be Crazy. And other than this overhead bin problem, it was a pretty uneventful flight. But okay, so then we got back. Look, questions asked before to go to Africa. How much uncertainty are you willing to accept? We got this from a traveler there. How much discomfort are you willing to endure? How much money are you willing to spend? All those come together. And I have acknowledgments here: planning, Patty, Carrie; navigation, Patty, Carrie, and so forth; photos, and Big Carrie. And that's what I got. So thanks very much. Okay, so go ahead.
What supports that giant population of seals? Is there a big fishery off the coast there?
There's a huge number of, yeah, it's high. And oh, what? Oh, yeah. What was the, well, maybe you better repeat it. Yeah.
What supports that big population?
What supports? No, there's huge number of fish. And I read where the fishermen want to reduce that seal population because they're making a big dent in the fisheries and so forth. But yeah, there's obviously, to support that, it has to be huge number of fish.
What feeds on the seals? Are there a pork?
I know, boy, it looks like a pretty, a great place for killer whales to feed and so forth. Yeah, I suppose they're there. We didn't, I didn't read about anything like that or see anything like that, yeah, so. But I could say something because I know there's grad students here and unlimited budget and so forth. You can't do Africa, at least anything like what we did, on the cheap. There's less expensive and more expensive, but you can't do it on the cheap. But I figured that trip that you could probably do for maybe $4,000 or $5,000. I think we figured something like that out. And you have to get a ticket over there. By the way, I mean, the tickets in off-season, which is when we went, February, we're $12.50. $12.50 in Nairobi, then you have to get to Windhoek if you go to Namibia. But it wasn't, this is not all that much money. Yeah, go ahead.
On the non-museum living people you visited, do they sort of just take money to have you come?
Himba? Yeah, they charge. There's a charge.
Kind of like a tourism as part
It is, yeah. But I mean, they live that life.
Right.
And I think the Damara people go back to some village or whatever, and they come out and give demonstrations. Yeah.
What would happen if you wanted to collect?
Collect? I'm not sure. I was in Uganda before, and there's restrictions on some of that. And but I don't know the laws in Namibia. But people here that do collecting all the time would know a lot more about that. Pardon? You get permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For arthropods, it's not so bad. But I mean, how much isn't how far ahead of time you have to?
Yeah, I mean, it took Brian Fisher maybe 6 months worth.
Yeah. A few more questions. If people have to leave, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead right here. Carta, yeah. That's part of the African Population Health Research Center that they started a program, Consortium on Advanced Research Training in Africa. And so I gave a talk in South Korea in population. That's what I do, is demography. And and one of my talks was on digital instruction. So the director of that program invited me over, and that's sort of what I'm hooked into right now. But it's to train PhD students so that they're trained there, as distinct from the West or some other place, so they'll stay in Africa. So it's a research training program. Yeah, I can tell you more about that if you're interested. Yeah.
I'm curious as a tourist whether or not you had any information given to you on the HIV epidemic in Uganda.
Not in Uganda, but I mean, we had to go through, whenever we were at ports, they'd have these infrared or whatever, the temperature sensitive, sensors that we would walk through to, detect whether we had a fever or whatever. But we didn't get specific information on that. HIV versus, Ebola was happening then and so forth as well. Yeah. 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 Go ahead. Yeah. We did 100% of our own driving in Namibia. Yeah. No. We buy it on the spot. Yeah, and so they have a little, it was actually at that school, we're driving, it's like, where is this thing, And so it turned out to be in this little tiny school. I mean, there's nobody there. And so anyway, we go pay, I don't know what it was, 10, small money really. That's as distinct from Kenya, where it's expensive. Namibia is actually really reasonable. Anyway, so we buy that, we parked our car, and then walked into the village. So that's all that took, yeah.
You said this will be posted on the internet. How will you do that?
I will post it on the website here. I'm going to render this because so it's already a video, but I'm going to sync my whatever, the voice narration and so forth with it, and maybe bring in a picture here and there, but I don't want to compete with other video there with my picture, that sort of thing. But short answer is we'll get it posted on the departmental website. Maybe one more question, and probably people have to go here. So, Steve, go ahead. No, those are man-made. Those are spring-fed, and that's most of them are man-created. But it's a wonderful thing because the wildlife can proliferate and they congregate and so forth. The water holes were unbelievable in Etosha. By the way, I mean, we would drive for miles and miles and miles and not see anybody. And especially up the Skeleton Coast, but even in Etosha, you just felt like we're one of like 10 people in the entire vast park. So anyway, okay, maybe one last one. Yeah.
The water holes to manage overgrazing.
Mm-hmm.
If an area is reaching their limit, either cut them off,
Mm-hmm.
and the animals will move somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. You would know about that. Look, what a great turnout here. I really appreciate that, the Davis community and everybody coming out. Yeah. Okay, thanks for coming. So.